Hey crafty family, it is I again. I wanted to do a video to show you something. I mentioned it in, I don't know if I mentioned it in another video or a live stream. I'm all kinds of confused. But I'm going to show you a new way to use your texture paste. There's tons of uses for texture paste. I'm going to show you a new one. Why not? So I'm going to show you how to use your texture paste to make these skins, basically. And this is texture paste, and it's not connected to paper. There's no paper on there. It's just texture paste. And what I did was I put a thin layer, well actually no, like a medium to thick layer of texture paste on a piece of wax paper, and when it dried I peeled it off. Now you're probably thinking, well, what's the point of that? Because, you know, well, it's cool because you can do things with this that you can't do with your other texture paste. So if you like the look of this texture-y kind of surface, you can die cut this, paint it, do whatever you want, and you can glue it to your projects, and you can do it that way. But what the main thing I was thinking of with this is, you know how sometimes you're doing a project and let's say you are altering some sort of jar, and I'm going to grab this one for an example. It's got stuff in it, but you know how when you're altering a jar, sometimes they're not perfectly smooth, and you know, they've got different areas that are hard to get a stencil on, and sometimes you want a stencil and put your texture paste through a stencil on whatever you're doing, and it might not be the most ideal surface, and so you don't get a good stencil on the, you know, with your texture paste, you don't get a good coat on it, and it comes out messed up, and the stencil, because the stencil don't sit flat. Well, you can stencil through with the texture paste through your stencil and onto wax paper, and you can arrange it how you want it yourself on your project, so you don't have to worry about it not coming out right. This is my texture paste through a stencil, and then when I took the stencil away and let it dry, I was able to peel off the little shapes. So you can use these as embellishments. So if you have some cool stencils with different designs, you can use it as, you know, like embellishments or whatever, and you can paint them, and it's just a new way to use texture paste. So I'm going to show you real quick how I did it, and yeah, it's something fun to do. You could probably do, I'm sure you guys will have your gears in your head going, and you could do 1,000 different things with this. So you need a piece of wax paper. I'm sure parchment would work as well. And the texture paste I used for this, which is nice and flexible, is the Deco Arts Dimensional Effects Paintable Texture Paste. But I'm pretty sure you can use it pretty much any texture paste. In fact, I'm going to test a few out with you today. Since we know this one works, I already showed it right here. I'm not even going to use this one. I am going to use my Dreamweaver embossing paste. I'm going to use my 3D gloss gel by Art Basics. I'm going to use my homemade paste. I've got a thick one and a thinner one. I'm going to see which one will work better, which one I can lay down better. I don't even know if these are any good anymore. They've been sitting for so long. And sometimes, you know, the homemade ones have a tendency, they can dry out quicker. Let's see, let's get a palette knife, and let's start with the Dreamweaver. Oh, I love this stuff. This stuff is great. I have more molding pastes. I really do. I have like a whole bucket in my closet of either Liquitex or Golden or something, but I'm not digging that out. So you're just going to spread it on. You're just going to spread on a thin coat. You know what? No. Let me do this through a stencil. That would look cooler. I'll do this one through a stencil. And then, here we go. You want to do it like, okay, so you don't want to do it through a stencil with small tiny holes, because then you're going to have to sit there and pick off small tiny things. Like this is okay probably, but you know, that's the one I did it through originally. So let me see what else I got here. I've got out a couple of these before. So I've got this shape. See, like these are too small. These with the tiny holes, they're not, you know, ideal for this. So I've got this and the triangles, and let's just try it and see what happens. Shall we? Let's do the triangles. We'll do a little spot with the triangles. Now, if you're not good at texture pasting and you want to get good triangles out of it or good shapes, use a piece of tape to hold down your stencil. And you want to lay it on thick. You don't want to scrape it back too much because you want it to be sort of thick so that you got a good coat. You could scrape it off the stencil after you pull it up. But you want to make sure it has a good smooth coat. And then when you pull up your stencil, now you'll have triangles. Don't worry about the little messy parts. You can even go like this and wipe away any of the triangles that didn't come out right. Like that one didn't, that one didn't, and then there's like a little bit here. This way you're not wasting. And then you could take your stencil. I'm going to move that out of the way a second. Then you could take your stencil and actually scrape off so you don't waste your product. Because, you know, I'm anal about stuff like that. And then I'll take that to wash after I'm done here. Okay. Yeah, this is my most favorite Dreamweaver. Love that stuff. Okay, so that triangles are Dreamweaver. Bring this back over here. Ooh, the fact that the table's wet is holding my... That's a good way to hold your wax paper down, is with a little sprinkle a little water under it. And that's... Yeah, that ain't going nowhere. Good deal. Then we got the 3D gloss gel. This stuff is freaking amazing. I love this stuff. Love it. It dries completely clear, but it is an embossing paste. So, yeah, this stuff is awesome. Love this stuff, like, to pieces. Alright, we're going to do this one up here. Actually, you know what? I want to do the arrows. I would definitely want to do the arrows with the... And what's nice is, you know how sometimes you'll get scrapbook paper and it will, like... It'll have, like, shiny embossed areas where it's, like, clear embossed over the paper. Like the fancy scrapbook paper has it. Well, this basically can do that same thing. Like you could do it yourself with this stuff. Because it dries completely clear, you could see your paper underneath. And yeah, totally awesome. I'm all for it. I'm just trying to make sure I get all the triangles evenly. Maybe a little bit more here. I'm trying to be too anal. That's good enough. Hey, don't lift up now. That's okay. That's okay. Put that over there a second so that I can lay this down and definitely not waste this stuff. Because it ain't cheap. When this came out, I was so excited to get it I think it was like last year, a year ago, when the 3D gloss gel, because I saw all the examples that people were using with it, and I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, I love it. Because I just thought it was so cool to have a 3D, a glossy paste. And I think Tim Holtz has one too. I think he has a matte, it's a clear or transparent gel, transparent medium, transparent texture. I don't know what it's called, but it's transparent something. Alright, so now I'm going to do this shape here. And I will use my, let's see if this is any good first. May not be. Maybe. Maybe. Oh yeah, that's okay. It just needs a little mixing. That's all. Just needs a little mixing. Ooh, it needs a lot of mixing actually. I need to mix it with a my stick. That's what I usually use to mix with. What are you doing, Tigger? Jesus. Jesus. I don't know if that one's strong enough. I need a mixing utensil. Here, I'll use this side of a spoon. This is my own fault for not using it and not stirring it every now and again. It will reconstitute, it's just a pest. I wish I had like one of those blender things. I may not be able to use it. It's very possible that I can't use it because this has been sitting for like 1.5 years, 2 years. And as with most mediums, if you don't use it, you lose it. Yeah, we're not going to play with that. Okay. This one, hopefully, is in better shape because it's not as thick. There we go. That's better. Yeah, see, I made a really thick one. And my thought was, okay, well, I'll just separate it into 2 jars and I'll thin it out a little bit. But I never did it. So, we'll use this one. This one's much smoother. And this one's just as old as that one. It's just it was a thinner batch. And it's not as thick as it probably should be because I purposely kept this one thin. Because it has its, you know, purpose in my crafting. I like a thin one sometimes for just like some messy texture. So I'm not sure how well it's going to go through a stencil because it's not, like, it's very loose. And I wanted it that way because I like it. But we'll see how it works for this particular thing that we're doing. So let's find out if it'll do what I want it to do. Because it's a lot more, see how it like flows more? I wanted it originally for because it is still thick. And so it's almost like a thick gesso. And that's kind of why I wanted it, because you can get some texture in it. So this might not work. It might just, as soon as I lift the stencil away, it's possible that it's just going to all run and not work out. But who cares? We're just testing it out and we're playing. That's all. Like, I wanted it to be like a thick gesso that I could like lay down and then write in with like the back of a paintbrush or something like that. That was kind of my idea in making it like thick or thinner and not making it as thick as I normally would make it. Not that thick. The other one is way too thick. I should not have done that. like I said, my original plan was, I just got tired and didn't feel like doing it, but I was going to incorporate it and make it thinner, and I never did. I was going to make 2 jars out of it, and never did. And then it was too thick, and it was too late. Too late! Alright, let's pull this up and see. Yeah, that's not bad. Look at that. That's perfectly fine. It's all good. It's all good in the hood, folks. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to leave this dry. I'm going to leave it dry probably overnight and finish the video tomorrow. Because I think it'll work out better that way. If I let it dry completely, this way we can peel them off. And I will shut the camera off, and the next time you see me, it'll be the next day. So, and we'll hopefully have some cool things. See ya! Okay, so I'm back, and it's been actually like 4 days. And these are dry. And I also thought of something else that would be cool, and that you could also do with this. You can also, you know how you have like stencils that have various like larger shapes, like hearts, or, you know, just large open spaces? Well, you can do that and put a, you know, a heavy layer of gesso, your modeling paste, and make like a large heart type of thing, or, you know, anything that you have that's a stencil will work just fine. So I did, the day after, or the next day when I did this originally, because like I said, it's now 4 days later, I did start to peel up the clear one, and I will say that the clear one is literally stuck to the wax paper. It's like literally pulling the paper off. So it didn't come out as cool as I thought. However, I'm thinking that if I add some water, I can maybe get off this stuff. So this is the 3D gloss gel or whatever that I did. And this one like literally adhered itself to the wax paper. But I wonder if I took some water and like sprayed it and let it soak for a second while I peel these other ones off. This is my homemade one, which cracked, because you got to be careful lifting it off because it's more stiff. But you can get it off. See, you can get it off if you peel it back, because this stuff is a lot more stiff. It's more like a cement. So as long as you're careful when you peel it off. See, these are really cool. They're hard, but they're also can break. See. But if obviously you don't break it before you put it on your project, these are great to put on your project. So yeah, so there's that. Let's see how this is doing, because I'd love a clear embellishment. Yeah, that seems to kind of work. So you could do that, just peel it gets sticky. Gets sticky, it like re-sticks. So I don't know how well that would work. The 3D gloss gel, I'm not sure that would work as well. I was hoping it would come off perfectly clear, but it does not. So that one may be a semi-fail, unless you have, maybe a craft mat would be much better, I bet you. If you had like an actual craft mat to do that on, instead of wax paper, like a non-stick coating. Rather than this cheap wax paper, it would probably work better. So, and then here is the, which one is this? So now this one's sticking a little bit too. But it doesn't matter because you don't care about, it doesn't need to be see-through. So, it still works. You could peel off all the little triangles. So that works fine. But probably a non-stick craft mat would work better. Because it does seem to take the paper up from the wax paper. But it's still perfectly usable. But these, yeah, the wax paper on this is not cool. So you definitely want to try it on a non-stick mat. So not to have the wax paper come up with it, and then it would probably be clear, and that would be cool. And of course, I like these the best, I think, because they're really cool. They're like as thin as a sand dollar. They're like really thin, and they feel kind of like a sand dollar. So these are really cool. I kind of like the homemade paste the best. But yeah, so that's my experiment, and I think this would be useful for people that want to do some cool textured stenciling on something that is rounded, or you know, or like I said, you could do the skins and then you can die cut them. I wouldn't die cut the ones that are like this, that are brittle. If yours comes out brittle, then you're not going to be able to die cut it. But the kind that's flexible, like this kind, and you know, certain other kinds that are flexible when they dry, will be perfect for die cutting. But I think it would be cool just to add texture to your projects, and you might have a project that you started and you're like, dang it, I wish I would have added some, you know, modeling paste, but then if I add it after you've already painted on it, it's going to be white and you're not going to be able to paint it without getting around onto the other parts of your page. So this way you could put it on here. You can then peel them off and paint them individually and then stick them back down on your project. So you could do that. So that's cool. I'm sure you guys will think of other things you can do, because there's probably 1.5 million things, but this just opens up a new avenue to use your different texture pastes in different ways. So I thought I would share that, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys had a great week and are going to have a great rest of your week. Make sure you do what you love what you do. Give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button to make sure you're getting notifications of when I have new videos and when I have my live streams, which are so much fun. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Do what you love what you do, and be nice to people. Love you guys. Bye.